Okay. I'm going to try again now because I effed up the last one because of um, this new studio. I honestly, YouTube, I don't know why they just can't stick with um, one system. Like, as soon as I start getting used to one way of doing things, like doing the live streams, they change it. And now they've created this new YouTube studio, and I still can't work out how to do um, live streaming on there without, basically screwing something up. Oh, and as soon as I'm gonna get used to the new one, they're gonna change it again, and I don't know. It's just crazy. But anyway, I'm live now. I'm back on I don't know how I got back on my classic page, but I am. And so um, I'm hoping this is working this time and that people can see me. Because it said on the one that I was talking in, it turned out that I wasn't even live and it was scheduling for um, another time. And I'm just like, what the hell is going on here? So anyway, going dark and psychic Q&A. So I've got a couple things I want to talk about today with you guys, and I'm hoping Tab East has said I look fresh. Thank you so much. Okay, I know it's working now, and it was strange how it wasn't working before. So going dark. Let's talk about going dark first. Obviously, there's so much going on now in the world. You're constantly being watched, and don't be fooled to think that you're not being watched when your phone is on airport mode or it is turned off. Even though my phone is old, like, it still does the job. I'm still on 3G here, you see. I hope it forever stays on 3G, but I'm telling you it's not, because I've had a look on the 5G website for this country, and 3G is going to be phased out in 2024, is what I've come to learn. But anyway, bottom line is, just when you think you are hidden when your phone is turned off, or your phone is in airport mode, you're not. You are not. And in fact, you're even more detectable when your phone is on airport mode or your phone is turned off. And so to get around that, to really become black, to really become undetectable, you need some of this. This is aluminum foil. I've been using it a lot now, and I can see a hole in it, so I need to replace this because it will not work if there are any holes. But what we're going to do with this is basically create a Faraday cage. And if you haven't heard of a Faraday cage, look it up. But we're going to create one so you will be undetectable. And it's not just about being undetectable. For me, my main reason of why so what I do is I cover my phone with this every night before I sleep. I'll do it nicely in a minute, but I cover my phone every night like this before I sleep because I am more concerned about the electromagnetic radiation more than anything when I am sleeping. And you have to know that this is why a lot of ETs and aliens and our star friends come to us when we are sleeping, because we are easily accessible when we are in a slower brainwave cycle, right? So if you don't know about brainwave cycles, I will say that we are resonating. Our brainwaves are cycling at a certain amount of waves per second. So obviously I'm talking to you now. They call this a beta brainwave state. So it's a high frequency of a high cycle rate of brainwave cycles per second. I'm alert, I'm engaging, I'm moving. It's a high cycle per second. When I'm sleeping, however, my brainwave cycles slow down, and I probably drift between what is known as a theta brainwave and a delta brainwave. A theta is a nice place to be in to access information when you're meditating if you don't drift off to sleep. But your theta and your delta brainwave cycles per second are the slowest and easily accessible. So that's important information to know, because if you are sleeping with your cell phone on next to your head or next to your body, you are getting bombarded with rubbish like electromagnetic interference, rubbish. And actually, there have been tests done, research, peer-reviewed papers that have shown behavioral modification can happen through a phone. So there has been scientific evidence showing that your behavior can be modified by having a cell phone around you due to the electromagnetic frequencies coming through that phone. So basically, whoever's doing these things can actually modify and influence your behavior through the waves emitted through this phone. So that is my main objective, my main reason for why I cover my phone. Even though it's turned off, I cover this damn thing because I don't want to be hit. I don't want my body, when I'm in a vulnerable state, when I'm sleeping, I do not want electromagnetic radiation or any kind of electrostatic coming through and coming through my body. Because you have to remember yourself, you are electrical beings. You know what happens when you stick your finger into an electrical socket. You zap. When we're hit by lightning, we zap. If we were not electrical, we would not be responding. We'd be like rubber. When electricity hits it, we wouldn't respond. We'd be like buffers, but we're not. We are electrical beings, and we are affected by the electro atmosphere of everything around us. So we are affected by things we are affected by things that are based on electricity. So, or electrical waves, magnetic waves, scalar waves, infrared waves, everything. So covering your cell phone is going to be your friend. And I know it might be a pain in the ass, but at least owe it to your body to protect yourself when you sleep. Turn your Wi-Fi off. If you are using Wi-Fi, turn it off. Turn it off, turn the whole show off. So turn it off by the socket. I don't use Wi-Fi now. Of course, it is inconvenient because that's the whole thing about 5G and Wi-Fi, is that it makes life so convenient. It really, really does. And actually, I wanted to read this paper to you. Maybe I'll do it at the end of, I wasn't going to do it in this live stream, but maybe I will. I'll see how I go for time. If you are interested in the detrimental effects of EMF or electromagnetic frequency. But turning your Wi-Fi routers off, turning them off at night, you owe it to your body to turn that off at night. And then obviously turning off your phone and wrapping it with alfoil, because you are still being detected when your phone is turned off very easily. The only way you can remain undetectable besides alfoil, if detection is a big thing for you, is snapping or cutting your SIM card. Even your SIM card on its own is detectable without any kind of battery. Cutting up your SIM card is the only way you are going to remain undetectable. Technology is powerful these days, people. So, right. And so there have been a couple of people online showing, oh, well, this doesn't work. I'm telling you it works. This guy, I watched a video of a guy putting alfoil around his phone and then calling it, and the call still went through. And I'm thinking, dude, you have to cover your whole phone. Like he had the bases exposed. And I'm like, it's never going to work. A Faraday cage has to close a circuit. It's basically creating an isolated circuit. So it will not be affected by outside electromagnetic interference. So, for example, if you remember my old videos when I was living in the desert and I kitted out that shed outside, I had this incredible shed that I kitted out with bed sheets and things everywhere, and I did a lot of videos in there. That shed is obviously made of tin, and I was actually sitting in a Faraday cage anytime I took internet out there because um, I couldn't I couldn't get any signal if the door was closed. If the shed door was closed, I had basically put myself in a Faraday cage and I couldn't get any internet signal. The only way I would get internet signal is if I kept my shed door open. So this is where the same principle applies. You need to create an isolated circuit. So anyway, you get your piece of paper, you get your aluminum foil, alfoil. There's a hole in this, so you're not going to use one with holes in it. I will replace this tonight. So you get your piece like this. Let me just put this down so I can make sure I'm getting this in the screen. Here's your piece. All I do, put it in the center. Can you see that? Wrap it one, wrap it over. So I've covered this side. This is how the guy had it on the video, right? He had these ends showing. No, no, no. You fold over this side, you fold over this side. I have now basically created a Faraday cage. If any of you guys had my cell phone number and you called this now, honey, you will not get through. You will not get through. And I've tested this and it works. So this phone is now off the radar. You cannot find me. You cannot find me. I have now gone in the dark. That is the only way, besides cutting up your SIM card and, or separating or throwing away your phone to remain undetectable, and going dark. So this is one way, but then eventually, as soon as you take this off, you are inevitably going to be back on the radar again. So obviously, I am doing this for the purposes of stopping electromagnetic frequency bombarding me when I am at my most vulnerable state, and that is when I am sleeping. So I don't want any kind of electromagnetic interference bothering my body when I'm sleeping. And you will find, if you suffer from any kind of psychosomatic conditions, emotional conditions like depression and anxiety, that will start to minimize. Any kind of mood swings or any kind of behavioral traits that you may have will start to minimize. The studies I have read about, obviously now I understand peer-reviewed papers and scientific evidence. There has been evidence done by the U.S. Office of Naval Intelligence before 1971 showing the detrimental effects of electromagnetic frequency. And yet this same government is pushing and pushing and pushing more and more and more to have Wi-Fi, to have devices that carry electromagnetic radiation. And one scientist was quoted saying, this is the beginning of the end for the human race. The human race is going to become extinct if we keep following this path. And that is no exaggeration, because when I read you this paper, this scientifically peer-reviewed paper, it is frightening. It is frightening, the studies they've done. And they have animal tested. They've done it on rats and mice. They have exposed the rats and mice to electromagnetic frequency. The results after even 1 month is unbelievable, and it is frightening. And here we are, chipped out. We are so chipped out with these damn things. We have no idea what we are doing to our bodies. This is why we have viral epidemics now. This is why we are seeing birds flying into windows or birds just dropping out of the sky. This is why we have an increase of neurological disorders and imbalance, creating all these awful emotional disorders. And actually, here we are. When I read about in this paper, reading how electromagnetic frequencies create an overproduction of calcium in the brain, here we are worried about the content of calcifying our brain through fluoride and toothpaste. I'm thinking, holy shit. Like EMFs, electromagnetic radiation, is causing an absolute overload in calcium production in the brain, which is causing psychological disorders. And it's at a whole new level. People are losing their heads, and they're not even putting the pieces together as to why these things are happening. And so what they do is they go and get medicated, which is only hindering the problem to try and cope with everyday life. All these things are happening. I'm going to read that paper. I'm going to read that paper, but I'm going to read that at the end. So if you're still here at the end of the live stream, I'm going to read that paper, and it will frighten you, because I'm reading this and it is scaring the hell out of me. I'm just like, this is unbelievable. Look, when I listen to Arthur Firstenberg, the guy that has basically, I think he's one of the people in charge of stopping 5G from happening. Obviously he's pointing out a lot of these things, but this peer review paper just goes into such explicit detail. It's frightening. It's frightening. And here we are with these damn things on us all the time, and we are around these towers all the time. We're having cell phone towers everywhere. We're using microwaves. Not just microwaves, but basically they liken 5G to having a microwave in every single room of your house and leaving it on when it is working, and having the door open of the microwave as it is working. So we are basically frying ourselves. In the peer review paper, another side effect is apoptosis, which is basically it's called cell death, where the cell actually implodes on itself. I'll get into it after. But I don't mean to frighten anyone, but people need to be aware exactly how this is happening. And this is going to be a massive, massive change for us. And the only way I can think of to stop 5G, and it is big wishful thinking, is to stop using your cell phone. If you do not use your cell phone, you are not opening the circuit for 5G waves to come through. That is the only way. And who's going to be willing to stop using their cell phones? Who's going to be willing to go back to a wired phone line? I think there's only going to be a few people that would be willing to go back to a wired phone line. I would be willing to go back to a wired phone line. I'm not using social media on my phone, but the convenience of having a phone and then perhaps just using it in emergencies, like if you're traveling or driving, just turning it on if there is an emergency. So a bit like using it as a satellite phone. But to me, that is the only way to stop 5G. Is if, what would be really cool if we did like a campaign for one day in 6 months' time, have everyone who joins this campaign to not use their cell phones for one day. Imagine if we had 1 million people around the planet not using their cell phones for one day. How that would impact the amount of radiation bombarding our planet. That would be staggering. That is the only way I feel to stop 5G, because the more people that don't use their phones, the less these satellites are going to be active. I mean, in a perfect world, if we all stopped for one day to not use our cell phones, those satellites would be inactive. They'd be inactive, and then these big companies would have no money coming in. And so that is the only way, as the common folk, you and me, the average person, the average human on this planet. Of course, by no means we are not average. We are incredible creations, but in comparison to these other, Fruit Loops on the higher platforms than us, that is the only way we can garner our control back, is by not using these devices. That's the only way. But I cannot imagine people would be willing to give up that convenience of their cell phone. People are addicted to their cell phones like candy. It's wishful thinking. It's wishful thinking. But I feel that's the only way we, as the common folk of this planet, the majority people, can claim our power back and basically get rid of 5G. That's the only way. That's the only way I feel, because how else can it be done? What are we going to shoot the satellites out of the damn sky? I mean, look, it's a possibility, but no. That's the only way. That's the only way to do it legally, to claim our power back, is to not use. So anyway, that's where I'm at with that. Now, a sweet friend of mine, Karen, you know who you are, Feral Gal. I don't know if you're here today. I haven't checked the comments yet, but Karen suggested to me months and months ago, and actually Karen's not the first person to do this. There's been a couple of others, but Karen really kind of went into detail because I had no idea about how to do it. A lot of people have been asking me about my psychic readings, and she suggested, why don't I do a live psychic reading? A live psychic reading where people, if they want a personal question answered for themselves, they basically pay $5 for a question, and I basically get my pad paper out and I answer the question for them psychically. Would anyone be interested in doing that? Would anyone be interested in basically doing a psychic live stream where I answer questions that you guys have, and I go into, like, I guess that's the thing with psychic and clairvoyance, is that a lot of personal information can come out. But obviously, being that it's just one question per person, I figured I would, I mean, I have to keep it brief. I mean, obviously, I could go into detail, but it would take too long. So basically, having you guys ask questions, like asking a question per person, paying $5 for me to personally get into detail about that, and then, like keeping it a pure clairvoyant psychic live stream. Would people be interested in doing something like that? I mean, I'm just throwing it out there. So I thought maybe we could try it. And I think, Karen was saying how people like psychics do this. And I've never really kind of thought about it before, because I've always loved the one-on-one interaction that I get with my clients via Skype, or if they don't have Skype, we usually do it via Skype, or sometimes just in a phone conversation. I've always loved that one-on-one with my readings. So for those of you that don't know, I am a clairvoyant. I am a psychic, and the way that I retrieve my information, it's twofold. I can look at you and I immediately get impressions and imagery, and because I see auras, I can basically do a body scan of what's going on with you, and then I also use the way I translate that. So even though I get the information that way, I also get it through automatic writing. So I usually, if I don't see you, like for example, if we were to do this live psychic question reading thing, question and answer, I would have my pad paper here. I would just require your name, um, and date of birth, and then I basically just get the information coming through. So I thought maybe we could try one, and if there are people that have perhaps been wanting just a quick question answered psychically, I could give some insight into that. Um, you know, like whatever it is that you perhaps are wanting to ask, and be a part of a group of people that are kind of like in a comfortable setting. I thought, why not? And if you don't mind having your answers shared with a group, some people are not cool with it and they like the private type of reading. But if you're cool with me, um, I will keep it brief though in these live streams. I don't want to divulge too much information. Obviously, I don't want to put someone in a uncomfortable position. So, obviously, being one question, I will keep it brief. And then, obviously, if you want to book in with something later, which is more private, more one-on-one, you can always go to my website and check out my readings that I offer there. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think it's a good idea? I'm not sure. So anyway, after I go through some questions with you guys here, I'm going to read that peer review paper, and I want you to know exactly about what is going on with 5G. Okay, I need a sweep. Good morning, Rebecca. Hi, Ria. Hi, Vanessa. Hi, Lim. Oh, you girls, you're all so sweet, because I know it's probably nighttime where you are, and I appreciate that you know that it's morning here. Hi, Max. Just chiming in to say congratulations on my uni results. Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you so much. Actually, if you didn't read on my little community page on my YouTube, I actually got my uni results back yesterday, and I got a distinction for this last semester. So I was kind of surprised by it, because I thought, even though I was on a high distinction throughout the entire semester, I was concerned that the exams were gonna let me down, because you just don't know what they're gonna ask, and an exam can absolutely bring your high mark down to a pass or maybe a fail. I didn't think I would fail, but I would have been happy with a pass. I would have been happy with a pass. And I felt pretty confident in the exam. I thought I would do okay, but then they had a lot of that analytical, statistical reporting, which I hate with a vengeance. And they had a lot of that in the exam. I thought, oh my God, this was my weakness. This was not what I enjoy. And they had a lot of that. And I thought, oh my God, this is going to bring my mark right down. And in fact, though, I surprised myself. So I got 77% for my exam. So I must have done something right, even if I just, like winged it through the exam. I don't know what I got right and what I got wrong, but I am going to request a copy of my exam papers to see what I got right and what I got wrong. I was very confident with the chemistry, very confident with the biology, and I don't know. I don't know where I marked, but I will be interested to see. So thank you so much. It feels good to not only pass, but I got a distinction. So I feel good about that. Athena says, looking forward to trying this. Thank you. I'm well. Hi, Shai Lamar. Hi, Dawn. Dawn's in Canada. Hey, Monique. Greetings. Love you, and I have learned so much from you. Greetings from the Rock of Gibraltar. Oh, what a nice part of the world. Welcome. Athena says, so a phone next to you while you sleep can prevent your brain from reaching that theta or delta state. I never even thought of this. I feel silly for not. I usually just turn mine off. Yeah, honey, believe me. Just because it's turned off, you're still trackable. Airport mode or with your phone turned off, you are easily trackable. The only way, like I said, is covering it with a Faraday cage or um, cutting up your SIM card. That's the only way you're not trackable. And someone said you can be tracked through your battery, but I haven't researched that. Maybe you can be, I'm not sure. But either way, the only way you are untrackable is covering your phone. And it may look ridiculous if you've got a boyfriend and he sees you wrapping your phone up with alfoil. He's going to be like, oh shit, here we go. Anyway, this is the way to have EMFs just not hit you when you are your most vulnerable is when you sleep. So that's why ETs and aliens, they come to you a lot of the time when you're sleeping because your brain waves are easy to access when you are sleeping. You're easy to access. You're easy to access because you're relaxed. This is why dreams come to you easily in your sleep state because you're so relaxed that all the distractions of the world that engulf you in your daily lives, you don't have that when you sleep. And that's why you can easily see visions and you are seeing and experiencing your dreams. And, your expanded self is active when you are sleeping. You want to protect that part of you when you sleep. So I am happy to alfoil up my phone. Sally's saying, I'm wondering why I can't remember half of my dreams these days. It's seldom. Well, it may have something to do with it, but it will be an interesting experiment now to see if covering your phone is going to allow you to remember your dreams. Dawn says, great, going to foil my house. But on a serious note, it is frightening. Honey, it is frightening what's happening. And the only way you can take control is to take control of your immediate environment. And so that means, and I know it's inconvenient, but unplugging your Wi-Fi, investing in an Ethernet cable. They say that Ethernet carries radiation as well. And I've actually bought an EMF detector. And I'm going to let you know how much EMF comes from Ethernet. Maybe none comes from the one that I have. And I'm going to show you the difference between Wi-Fi EMF and then EMF coming from Ethernet cable. I want to show you how much radiation is coming from each. And then I'll show you how much radiation is coming from your cell phone. So I've got a EMF detector coming in the mail. It's just not here yet. Hi, Ria. So how are you live online now when your phone is covered? Do you have a Wi-Fi modem? I don't use the internet through my phone. I'm using the internet through my computer. And I do have a Wi-Fi modem, but it's not plugged in. I don't use Wi-Fi anymore. I have basically an Ethernet cable, which is you plug into I think they call it the router. You plug that Ethernet cable into your router and you put it, if you see, and this is how smart Apple computers are these days. You don't even now have the ports to put in USB cables in computers anymore. I'm lucky I still have an old computer and I have USB ports on the side of mine. And what I have, even though I don't have an Ethernet port on the side of my computer, I do have an Ethernet to USB adapter wherein you can plug in your Ethernet cable and then there's a USB adapter on the other end. I've just plugged that into my computer. So that is how I have internet access right now. And in fact, Ethernet is 10 times faster than Wi-Fi. So it's a good connection. Ria says, I have an EMF measuring device and the smart meter is the worst. Next to microwave not in use, TV not in use. Yeah. Angry Bird says, hello, Miss Australia. You're so sweet. Ria says, since they were installing smart meters, I couldn't sleep. They are very, very bad and installed for a reason. What I don't even know what smart meters are. What can somebody explain to me what are smart meters? Are they like a what's a smart meter? I don't even know. Athena says, I honestly just don't know what to do. It's a huge catch 22. Almost like a damned if you do, a damned if you don't scenario. Yeah, honestly, it is. It's fucked. There's no other way of putting it politely. It is a bad situation, but at least you can minimize your impact in your home. You're not using your phone when you sleep, so you can turn that off and cover your cell phone up. There is nothing stopping you from doing it, and it might be hard to begin with, but believe me, once you if you find you're actually sleeping better when it's turned off and covered with alfoil, you're gonna start really enjoying that sleep. And if you then suddenly turn your phone back on and find that you're not sleeping well, you're gonna not like that. So you're gonna want to go back to creating a naturalized environment for you to sleep, like we did back in the 1980s. I'm an 80s child, so you know, I mean, everyone did so well without cell phones before they came in. Everyone did fine. I remember as a kid, still dialing up on the telephone. We talked to our friends on the phone like that. Like everyone did fine without them. It's just now that we've become so lazy and we're all about everything happening right now and the convenience that the internet and our phones give us. Like it's just the convenience. Humans are just wanting immediate convenience and immediate accessibility. So, if you can do without that, it may actually improve your life going back to the old ways and forcing you to talk to someone on the phone again instead of texting all the time and forcing you to see people face to face again. It's, I think it's a great thing going back to a wired phone. Although I won't do it because I rarely use my phone anyway. I might speak to my family every few days. Um, might get a text or two in a day. I rarely use this damn phone. It just comes. It just comes me when I'm driving. It's just I just don't use it, and this is why it's so easy for me to stay with an iPhone 5 because I'm just not using it. I'm just not using it. Dawn says, I would do that. No phone for a day. Oh my God, I would love it if people use no phone for a day. Wouldn't that be great if we got 1 million people not using their phone for a day? Like, decided this, like, give people like 6 months to get this campaign out and then just for one day to not use your phone and honestly not using your phone. How many people could honestly do it? If people are anything like my cousin that are using their phone 4 or 5 hours a day, people are going to have major withdrawals. It's like coming off drugs. People are going to withdraw so hard on that. Burning ITX. Hello from Doha. Marhaba. When will the eyeliner be back? Actually, you know what? My eyeliner is, it's sold out right now. Khalas, it's finished. Um, I'm not sure if I'm going to bring it back right now, just because I've got a lot of things going on. Perhaps I will at some point. I'm just not. I'm just not sure right now. But um, I'm not sure if you've actually used it before. It was one of my best-selling products. This eyeliner, but um, the time to make it, the processing time, it's just so labor intensive. Um, I'm not sure if I'll bring it back. I'll see. I'll see how I go. Yep, Fruit Loops. I don't know what else to call them. I just don't understand when I listen to this guy. Is his name Tim Wheeler? I think his name's Tim Wheeler. He was in charge of the like the National or the Federal Communications Bureau of America. Oh my gosh, when I look at him, like I can feel the radiation coming from him. It's frightening. The way and how aggressive this man talks, it is frightening. I just think, what a monster. The way he talks about implementing accessibility with internet and 5G is just, it's frightening. I just think, is this guy even human? He is just so aggressive, so awful, just so, just, it's people like him that are causing the detriment of our society. He is a frightening individual. I think his name's called Tim Wheeler. Let me just look it up if it's Tim Wheeler. He is frightening. I have to stretch because Tim Wheeler. President? I don't know. Maybe someone can look it up. I think his name's Tim Wheeler. Oh, did it work? Yes. Thomas Wheeler. Yeah. American businessman and politician, the 31st chairman of the Federal Communications Commission. He was, oh my God, to listen to him talk, he was absolutely frightening. Frightening, frightening, frightening. It's people like him that are hurting our society, flat out. Athena says she would be interested in the psychic live stream, definitely. Okay. How do you pay? Well, actually, if you go to the description box under the video, there is a link to pay the $5. You can actually also, with Super Chat here on live stream, you can actually pay via Super Chat. I think you can. I think you can pay via the live stream. So when I'm actually live, you can actually pay with the live stream, as far as I know. And that's with Super Chat. It allows you to pay via the live stream. If you can't do that, there is a link to pay the $5 that I've got in the description box. And when you do pay via my website, you just click the free shipping if it goes to that. If it goes to the shipping, you just click the free shipping for readings, and you should be fine. So yeah, I think you can do it through the Super Chat, as far as I know. Yeah, so there's a little icon. There's a little icon down below of the live chat, and it says there's a smiley face, an emoji, and then there's a $sign. It says show your support for Andulairah. So I think that's how you would do it down there. Ria says she would be interested too. Okay, good. Oh, good job, Angry Birds. So Angry Birds has just explained it. There's a $sign at the right of the chat, but in certain countries it doesn't work, i.e. from me. It says Super Chat not available in your app store. Oh, bad luck. It's not available to pay via the $sign. Is there another way to pay? Yeah, so if you go to the description box, you'll see my website. Just go in there and go to Psychic Readings or the Clairvoyance tab, and that's where you can pay if you want to be a part of this. So I'm thinking of doing something like midweek next week, around this time, if you're interested. So click on the website link and prepay there, or if you are able to do the Super Chat, then do it on the day. It's my first time, so it'll be hard to kind of gauge who's going to be here and who won't be. But hopefully I can iron out all the wrinkles, and we can see how we go the first time round. Could you channel the answers during the exam? I thought about it. Hi, Goddess TV. I wonder what you would pick up about me. Ha ha ha. A lot. With everybody, and that's the thing with clairvoyance, is that you kind of got to Because with clairvoyance, everything is transparent. Everything is transparent. There's nothing hidden. There's nothing hidden. And so um, you've just got to, by picking up on someone's energy, you usually can indicate how much information they're willing to accept or digest, basically. But with clairvoyance, everything's on show. So if you're okay with that, well, but still, like I said, I would keep it brief. I'm not going to go into explicit detail and embarrass you or put you in an uncomfortable situation. We'll keep it light. We'll keep it brief. It's, just something in a group setting where we can come together and do this. Hi, Christine. Oh my God, I'm late. What did I miss? Oh, we've been talking about a few things, mainly to do with how to protect your phone. Yes. Ria says it measures how much electricity you use and they send you a bill. I'm in Gippsland, Victoria. So they don't have to come to your house as they used to before. That's right. Athena says, I'm an early 90s child. I have never slept well as since. Yeah, oh my God. Oh, I had such a nice childhood in the 80s. My God. We were the kids that were playing out all day. We'd be making cubby houses. We'd be out around like the desert, just in trouble and doing what kids do. And oh my gosh, like when I listen to 80s music, it just makes me just feel so warm and fuzzy. And that's usually what's on my playlist is 70s and 80s music, early 90s. Athena says, yeah, I want to clarify from before. I meant damned if you do, damned if you don't. I'm referencing to the overall 5G situation. Absolutely. No, I get what you mean. Yeah. Not Tyler, the creator. Hi, Tyler. MJ, I've caught alive. Good morning. The Wits of Nano is here. Ah, nice to see you live again. Oh, I'm so glad you're here from New York. Okay, so I want to read this paper. I will say it's an academic peer-reviewed paper. I think it's peer-reviewed. It's a scientific paper, but I want to go into it. It might be a little bit. I'll go slow with it. I'll go slow with it because there's a lot of information, but I want you guys to consequences. I want you guys to understand this. Here it is. Oh no. Oh yes, here it is. I've got it. I don't know how much I'll read or get through, but I'll just keep reading and let you know. And when I'm finished, I'll obviously stop. Okay, so Wi-Fi is known as a wireless network involving at least one Wi-Fi antenna connected to the internet and a series of computers, laptops, and or other wireless devices communicating wirelessly with the Wi-Fi antenna. So a lot of people don't actually know what Wi-Fi is, but this is just what they're saying. In this way, each such wireless communication device can communicate wirelessly with the internet. All the studies reviewed here were using a Wi-Fi of the 2.4 gigahertz band, although there is also a 5 gigahertz band reserved for possible Wi-Fi use. Telecommunications industry-linked individuals and groups have claimed that there are no and cannot possibly be any health impacts of Wi-Fi. However, with Wi-Fi exposures becoming more and more common, and with many of with our exposures being without our consent, there is much concern about the possible Wi-Fi health effects. This paper is not focused on anecdotal reports, but rather on 23 controlled scientific studies of such health-related effects in animals, cells, including human cells, in culture, and in human beings. Okay, so these are controlled studies. That means they are in a lab controlled environment. Okay, so the health effects that they have listed with these controlled studies. Now, this is frightening, okay? Get ready for it. Oxidative stress in some studies effects lowered by antioxidants. Sperm testicular damage, male infertility. Neuropsychiatric changes including EEG. EEG is electroencephalograph. Is that what it is? Encephalic electrographing. Look up EEG. What is EEG? I think that's what it is. So it's basically when you get the circuitry placed around. They basically measure your brainwave with putting pads around your head. Okay, so neuropsychiatric changes including EEG, prenatal Wi-Fi leads to postnatal neural development, increased cholinesterase, decreased special learning. Wi-Fi led to greatly lowered ability to distinguish familiar from novel objects, changes in GABA and cholinergic transmission. Cholinergic transmission. I'm not sure what that is. Apoptosis. I did tell you what that is. Programmed cell death. Elevated apoptic markers. So basically, an increase of the potentiality of apoptosis occurring frequently within the body. Cellular DNA damage. Endocrine changes include catecholamines, pancreatic endocrine dysfunction, prolactin, progesterone, and estrogen, calcium overload, melatonin lowering, sleep disruption, microRNA expression in the brain, abnormal postnatal development, disrupts development of teeth, cardiac changes, blood pressure disruption, erythrocyte damage. Erythrocyte damage. I can't even pronounce some of these words. Growth stimulation of adipose stem cells, roles in obesity. Okay, that's some of the side effects. Each of these effects reported above in from 12 to 11 studies have an extensive literature for their occurrence in response to various other non-thermal microwave frequency EMFs discussed in detail below. These include findings that Wi-Fi exposures produce impacts on the testes leading to lowered male fertility, oxidative stress, apoptosis, which is a process that has an important causal role in neurodegenerative disease, cellular DNA damage, a process causing cancer, and germ-line mutations. Now, remember how we were saying, or someone had asked, are these viruses related to like Wi-Fi and 5G? There is that connection. Germ-line mutations. Neuropsychiatric changes, including EEG changes and hormonal changes. The discussion here focuses on those Wi-Fi effects which have been found by multiple Wi-Fi studies and have been previously confirmed by non-thermal exposures to other microwave frequency EMFs. The 1972 U.S. Office of Naval Medical Research study reported the following changes related to testes or sperm. So these pricks knew about this back in the 70s, and yet they are still encouraging this in our society. So that just shows you, if you've ever heard about the depopulation of the human race, I mean, these things are just kind of joining all the dots together. Okay, so the U.S. Office of Naval Medical Research in the 70s reported the following changes related to testes or sperm. Number 1, decreased testosterone leading to lowered testes size. Number 2, histological changes in testicular epithelial structure. Number 3, gross testicular histological changes. Number 4, decreased spermatogenesis. Also reported a total of 35 neurological, neuropsychiatric effects of non-thermal electromagnetic frequency exposures, including 9 central nervous system effects, 4 autonomic system effects, 17 psychological disorders, 4 behavioral changes and EEG changes. It is also reported 7 types of chromosomal aberrations, several of which are known to be caused by chromosomal double-stranded DNA breaks. Holy shit. 8 types of endocrine changes, and cell death, what we know as apoptosis. Also provided over 1,000 different citations, each reporting various types of non-thermal microwave frequency EMF effects. Consequently, the existence of 5 types of Wi-Fi effects, each supported by multiple Wi-Fi studies, were already well supported as general non-thermal EMF effects back in 1971, which was at the time of this paper 47 years ago. Effects on the testes and sperm production, neurological, neuropsychiatric effects, endocrine effects, attacks on cellular DNA, and increased apoptosis, cell death. Holy shit, you guys. Is that, I mean, I haven't even gone into detail yet. I'm going to get into detail if you want me to keep going, but that just shows you like what's going on right now. I mean it's frightening. It's frightening. Okay, let me keep going and then we can talk after. Hopefully if you're still here. The 146-page review published by Togskaya and Gordon found that in studies of histological changes in rodents, now this is very interesting, the 3 most sensitive organs in the body of these rodents to non-thermal microwave EMFs were the nervous system, including the brain, followed closely by the heart and the testes. So when they tested on these rats and these mice, the 3 organs affected the most were the nervous system, the testes, and the heart. They also reported changes in neuroendocrine tissues and increased cell death in multiple tissues. Therefore, those pre-1973 rodent studies already showed that other EMFs caused 4 of the repeated, recently documented Wi-Fi effects: changes in testis structure and function, neurological effects, increased cell death, possibly via apoptosis, and endocrine effects. Findings from our longer list of EMF reviews of non-thermal effects are summarized in Table 2. Right, so the non-thermal effects, as I pointed out, cellular DNA damage, and this is all recorded. This is not speculative. This is all that's been shown in these lab tests with these rodents. Cellular DNA damage, changes in the testis structure and lowered sperm count, neurological, neuropsychiatric effects, apoptosis, cell death, calcium overload, endocrine effects, oxidative stress, and free radical damage. Each of the 7 Wi-Fi effects found in 2 to 11 studies have also been found to be caused by other microwave frequency EMFs in a much larger literature. From 10 to 16 reviews extensively document each of these 7 effects as general microwave frequency effects. These are therefore general effects produced by such EMFs. Each of these 7 effects is very serious. Oxidative stress has causal roles in most chronic human diseases. Cellular DNA damage can cause cancer, thus producing a partial explanation for EMF cancer causation because such DNA damage occurs in sperm cells. Such damage is highly likely to produce mutations that impact future generations. That's scary shit. Calcium overload is highly likely to be the cause of each of these various other effects, as discussed below. Apoptosis has central roles in neurodegenerative diseases. Neurodegenerative, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, that kind of thing. The neuropsychiatric effects are almost certainly caused by the impact of EMFs on brain structure, which is extensively documented and in my opinion, produces many impacts. So your neuropsychiatric effects are things like anxiety, depression, bipolar, schizophrenic, that kind of stuff. Now this is fucking interesting. A recent meta-analysis, so like you know how they gather metadata? A recent meta-analysis shows major lowering of sperm counts and sperm quality in many countries around the world, with declines of over 50% in all advanced technology countries. Is that not so fucked up? A decline of 50% in all advanced technology countries. Sperm quality is going down in Western countries, basically. The senior author of this study suggested that this effect alone may lead to human extinction. Holy shit. Given the major impact of EMF exposure on sperm count and quality in human and in animal studies, the pattern of evidence on male fertility is very worrying. Holy shit. One thing needs to be clarified here, however. In the 2 studies on calcium overload following Wi-Fi exposure, such overload was measured a substantial time period following exposure. Overload was shown to be caused to a substantial effect by increased TRPV1 receptor activity. The TRPV1 receptor is known to be activated by oxidative stress. In my view, discussed in detail below, that there is a central mechanism that acts to produce excessive intracellular calcium immediately following EMF exposure, and that the oxidative stress / TRPV1 activation is secondary. I hope you guys are still following me. I've still got a fair bit to go, but I'm going to break in a minute and then I'll go back to it. We have then major impacts of non-thermal EMF exposures on both of the most important intracellular regulatory systems in the body, the nervous system and the endocrine systems. We have major impacts on what may be the most important intracellular regulatory system, the calcium regulatory system. And we also have non-thermal EMFs attacking the DNA of our cells, putting our biological inheritance at great risk. If this is not frightening fucking information, I don't know what is. Because when I read this, I was deeply concerned. As living organisms, EMFs attack each of the most important functions that go to the heart of our human complexities. Despite all of these clear and important non-thermal effects, and the fact that there was substantial evidence for many of them already known before 1973, our current US and international safety guidelines are still based on considering only thermal effects. That is so fucked up. That is so fucked up. Okay, I'm going to break for a minute. I'm going to check in with you guys and see how you're doing. I want to see if you're following this information. Right. Yes. Are we good? Are we following through? Where? Oh, gosh. Okay. Actually, you know what? I'm going to put this link for this paper in the description so you guys can read it for yourself after I finish. Christine says, embarrass the hell out of me. I volunteer. Okay, so Ria says the smart meter is measuring your electricity usage in your house. That's what I was trying to explain. Right, okay. Yes, I'll do that, Sally. I'll put the link in the description box. Yeah, these tests were done by the U.S. Office of Naval Medical Research in 1971. Yes, that's blowing my mind as well, honey. It's fucking nuts. Angry Birds are saying, I remember when I was in 7th grade, our chemistry professor told us not to keep our phones in our pockets but in our bags because if kept in the pocket near the crotch, it causes infertility. My God. See, your teacher was on it even back then. When I see anyone like, I have a friend who has his phone up near his heart, I'm just like, what are you doing? Are you fucking nuts right now? He's like, what? I said, your phone, you've got your phone next to your heart. Are you mad? This is madness. He's like, well, where else do you want me to put it? He's like, I'm not going to put it down near my nuts. I'm just like, don't even put it on your body. Keep the damn thing away from you. Ah, goodness. That is scary. Yeah, it is. Hi, Brian. Hi, LL Sexy 316. I don't know who's doing it, but depopulation, like why? If you know this is so bad, if our governments and the people of the world that are running this planet know it's so bad, why on earth would they continue using it and putting it in our industries and putting it in our civilian sectors and putting it on our planet if they know it's so bad? Why else would they be doing it? Do they really want to depopulate our human civilization? Why else? Where is the sanity in that? I don't get it. It's just absurd to me. It's absurd to me. Right, I'm going to keep reading. Okay. Where am I? Okay. Wi-Fi and wireless communication EMFs are pulsed, leading to larger biological impacts. These EMFs are also polarized, also producing larger effects. Dose-response curves are often both nonlinear and non-monotone. There are 3 patterns of EMF action, each of which is very important and each of which is almost universally ignored by the telecommunications industry and industry-linked organizations. The most extensively reviewed of these is that of pulsed EMFs, which are usually much more biologically active than are non-pulsed, also known as continuous wave EMFs of identical frequency and similar average intensity. This pattern of action is particularly important because all wireless communication devices, including Wi-Fi pulsations, are likely to be particularly dangerous as consequence of this. Panagopoulos, who is, I'm guessing, a scientist, I think it may be a communications company, have argued that the more pulsed they are, no, it's not. I don't know who this is, but they have argued that the more pulsed they are, the EMFs, the more damaging EMFs will be, and while this may be still questioned, it may well be a roughly applicable generalization. Right, I'm just going to scroll a little bit. Okay. Oh, okay. This is scary. EMF effects are often cumulative and irreversible. This is with the rats and the rodents, and it is frightening. One question that has been raised about the effects of these low-intensity EMFs producing biological effects is, are they cumulative? I am aware of 3 different types of evidence for cumulative effects. 3 of the human occupational exposure studies from the 1970s reviewed in Raines, 1981, show that effects increase substantially with increasing time of exposure to a particular type of intensity of EMF. So the impacts of such EMFs on animal brains were reviewed in Tolskaya and Gordon in 1973 and discussed in 2016. Initially, exposures over a 1 to 2 month period produce relatively modest changes in structure of the brain and the neurons, and when the exposures stopped, most of the structural changes disappeared. That is, the changes were largely reversible. However, more months of exposure produced much more severe impacts on brain and neuronal structure, and these were irreversible. That's some scary shit right there. Okay, so some scientists put these scientists, Magris and Xenos, in 97, put pairs of young mice into cages on the ground at 2 locations each with somewhat different exposures within an antenna park. In an antenna park. The exposure levels at both sites were well within safety guidelines. So if the safety guidelines have any biological relevance, there should have been no apparent effects on the mice. It takes about 30 days for mice to go through gestation. At the higher level exposure, the pairs produced 1 litter of lower than normal size and a second litter with lowered numbers of progeny. Progeny is sex chromosomes. As far as I know, sex chromosomes. I should know this. Progeny. After that, they were completely sterile or had extremely low fertility. At the other site, the mating pairs produced 4 litters with decreasing numbers of progeny over time, followed by complete sterility. In both groups, the mating and possible subsequent gestation for the 5th possible litter were performed under conditions of no EMF exposure, but the fertility effects were not reversed. Therefore, fertility effects may become irreversible, suggesting a similar pattern to the brain-related effects of EMFs. It should be noted that Ozark, who obviously is a scientist, showed that Wi-Fi exposure impacted animal reproduction, and that suggested this as well from the Wi-Fi impacts on testis structure and sperm production. Mutation accumulation produced by cellular DNA damage is likely to be both cumulative and irreversible as well, because later mutations are highly unlikely to reverse previously occurring mutations. We have therefore reason to think that such effects as brain damage to animal brains, neuropsychiatric effects in humans, reproductive dysfunction in mice, and mutational effects are each cumulative. Those same effects may be completely or largely irreversible. One thing that this should tell us is that the short-term Wi-Fi studies shown in Table 1 may greatly underestimate the damage Wi-Fi may do over much longer periods of time. Given the fact that Wi-Fi has been placed in most schools, hotels, restaurants, coffee shops, commercial aircraft, and airports, as well as in many homes, and that Wi-Fi hotspots are becoming increasingly common in cities around the world, we should expect massive cumulative Wi-Fi effects in many people. Holy shit. A second tentative inference is that false assurances of safety on the part of industry are likely to lead to much more severe effects on people exposed to Wi-Fi or other EMFs, rather than leading them to protect themselves or their children by avoiding exposures or demanding that others stop non-voluntary exposures. They are likely to avoid protective changes or be prevented from doing such protective changes. A third inference is that these effects may be among the more difficult ones for us to attribute to EMF exposure. We are much more aware of effects that occur rapidly than those that take months or years before they become readily apparent. Wi-Fi and other EMFs may be particularly damaging to young people. Most arguments that have been made that microwave frequency EMFs may be much more damaging to young children have centered on the much smaller skulls and skull thickness in young children, increasing the exposure of their brains to EMFs. People, this is frightening shit. The children are our future, and a lot of you are parents, and this is concerning information. If your children are around EMF a lot, especially in schools, you know, their skull thickness is a lot thin. It's a lot thin. Oh my God. It's as if someone doesn't want me to talk about it. Oh my God. Even my voice has been taken away from me. It's as if someone doesn't want me to speak about this. Anyway, their skulls are a lot thinner. However, there are other arguments to be made. EMFs have been shown to be particularly active in producing effects on embryonic stem cells. Because such stem cells occur at much higher cell densities in children, with stem cell densities the highest in the fetus and decreasing with increasing age, impacts on young children are likely to be much higher than in adults. The decreased DNA repair and the increased DNA damage following EMF exposure strongly suggest that young children may be increasingly susceptible to cancer following such exposures. EMF action on stem cells may also cause young children to be particularly susceptible to disruption of brain development, something that may be relevant to autism causation. Is not the autism, the prevalence of autism, it's so big in the world right now. ADHD, children with high spectrum autism, Asperger's syndrome, the increase is unbelievable, is it not? It is. These are all very problematic issues, and we cannot rule out the possibility that there are other problematic issues as well. Another scientist reviewed the literature showing that there are age-related effects such that young people are more sensitive to EMF effects. It follows from these various findings that the placement of Wi-Fi into schools around the country may well be a high-level threat to the health of our children, as well as being a threat to teachers and any very sensitive fetuses teachers may be carrying as well. I mean, that is unbelievable. Gosh, I'm just trying to go through. It's a long paper. I kind of want to get into the calcium stuff. There's so much. There's so much information here. Let me just have a quick read. Oh my gosh. This is just unbelievable research in this paper. I'm just scrolling. Okay. Oh. There's another, they've done it, here's another, they've done another controlled experiment here. Yep, all showing the same effects. Heat shock, protein induction, calcium overload, male, female infertility. Oh my God, this is ridiculous. I'm still scrolling. Yeah, people, this is some scary shit. This is the truth of what this is, and yet these industries and these people that are regulating these safety guidelines and saying, oh, you know, you're fine, you're not being exposed, or you're within the safety limits, is absolute bullshit. It just shows you, like, when they did this experiment on the rats and the mice for just a month of being around a park with an antenna, it showed you the detrimental effects on them. A month to 2 month exposure. That is unbelievable information. So, it kind of makes sense when you see how the world is kind of turning now. You look at humans, and we're in our cell phones and we're in front of screens all the time. We're playing video games. There's that complete separation, face-to-face communication. Like I said, like I pointed out in this paper, the increase in infertility, I mean, in male and female, is ridiculous. Anyway, okay. Right. This is kind of the conclusion now. I've scrolled down so much. There's so much information in this paper. And I'll get the link of that and put that in my little box now. I don't know if it'll show up now, but I'm going to put that in there. It's under ScienceDirect.com, Science Articles. Shit, I've been talking for a little while. Sorry about that. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so that's all I'm going to read with that today. I've put the link in my dashboard and my little description box, and you can check it out. Yeah, you have to turn your Wi-Fi off. If you're not using it, save yourself an electricity bill as well. Turn your Wi-Fi off. I'm not surprised either, Christine. Yeah, it's all about money. It's all about filling pockets. It's all about here and now. They are not thinking about our future. They're not thinking about our children. They just basically, I can't think of what else they're trying to do except for kill off the human population. I can't think of anything else. Why? When you look at our medical system, when you look at how invasive our medicine is, why are we not developing beautiful non-invasive technology where, like we use light therapy and sound therapy to heal people? And, why are we encouraging the use of pills and chemicals that are completely detrimental to us? So basically, everything that they're doing is killing off our planet, not just us, but everything else around it. Like us on it and everything in it. It's just hideous. It is insane. It is insanity. It is insanity at its finest. And now they are wanting to put these fucking satellites up and create an accessible, internet connection. Like I look on the page of Telstra, which is our main network, or one of the main networks in this country, Telstra, Optus, and it's like introducing 5G, the way of the future. Jump on board, get your 5G phone today. And I just think it's all bright and positive. I just think, you fucktards, this is such bullshit. This is awful. I don't even know if their people are even told of the dangers of 5G. Maybe they're not even in the know, but like, it's just absurd. It's so absurd. Elon Musk saying how we're still using fossil fuels. I agree. Yes, it's criminal. But what is also criminal is him putting these satellites in our orbit, polluting our atmosphere. This is criminal also. You didn't ask me, fucker. You didn't ask me if it's okay. You didn't ask any of my friends here on the live stream. You didn't ask my neighbor if it's okay to put these 12,000 satellites on here with 5G and you destroy my planet. You didn't ask me. I didn't say it's okay. Nobody was asked. What gives these people and these companies the right to put our health and our survivability at risk? What gives these people the power and the right to take away our basic right to live? What gives people the right? What gives these people the right to take away our basic human, our life? What gives them the right? I didn't say it's okay. Did you say it's okay? I didn't say it's okay. Look, people of Earth, this is the game we're in. We're on this planet with all these games playing out. We must have come in knowing what we were going to be a part of and knowing what we were going to witness on this planet. Because for those of us that are putting together the dots and putting the pieces together and seeing it black and white for what it is, which is depopulation of our human race, we must have known what we were coming in for. We would never have elected to come onto this planet not knowing what we were coming into. We must have come in with our gloves on. We must have come in looking at it thinking, yeah, come on, let's go onto this crazy planet Earth with these crazy beings and orchestrate this incredible, this incredible game of dark and light, because that is what it is. It is such an extreme orchestrated game playing out of dark versus light, and of staying strong and being strong, and no matter of how challenging it is on this planet, to still recognize it for what it is. It's a game. It's a game. It's a test of our valor, of our strength, of ourselves, of our altruism, of our power. It's a test. And I just think these people, probably a lot of them probably don't even know what they are consciously a part of. And it's all you've got to, as much as it's angering and frustrating, you've got to look at the big picture. We chose to be here and we chose to witness this, but it doesn't mean we have to be passive about it. We can still lead by example. We can still say, hey, this is not right. This is not right. This is not how it should be. We should be preserving our planet. We should be cleaning our planet. We should be taking care of each other. We should be taking care of people on the planet and giving everyone somewhere to live. We should have an incredible, we should not even have diseases that kill us at this point in time. We have invested so much time and effort and money into trying to develop technology. It should be all going back to bettering ourselves naturally, and really giving ourselves as humans a platform to develop ourselves, to become a part of the galactic neighborhood. We are not suitable candidates to be a part of a galactic neighborhood. Our galactic star family and brothers and sisters out in the cosmos must just think, oh my God, look at these damn humans. When are they going to see through the light? When are they going to get it right? When are they going to stop playing these silly games? When are they going to grow up and become one of us? Believe me, there's plenty of us that are suitable candidates to be a part of these galactic neighborhoods, but because we belong to the global consensus as a whole, we are the minority. We do not represent the majority of the people of this planet because we're not allowed to, because we see it for what it is. We see it for what it is. So all I suggest, with all this knowledge that I've shared with you, like with this paper, concerning 5G and the effects of Wi-Fi radiation, all you can do is control your immediate environment. There is no one forcing you to use your phone every day. There's no one forcing you to turn that Wi-Fi router on or that modem on. No one is forcing you to do that. So if you really are consciously concerned about your future, your children, yourself, your health and well-being, you will implement the changes you need to in your immediate environment to make it at least healthy in your home. So that might mean buying an Ethernet cable. That might mean, doing a small thing like turning off your Wi-Fi router at night. So when you are sleeping, you can have a night filled with energy from the cosmos and good feng shui around you, as opposed to being invaded and bombarded with electromagnetic frequency and radiation, microwave radiation, hitting your body when you are at your most vulnerable. That might mean, instead of eating microwave meals every night, by learning how to cook. That might mean deleting your social apps, deleting Instagram, deleting Snapchat, deleting, I don't know what else is out there, but deleting these things and not using them anymore. So minimizing your time on your phone. That might mean carrying your phone instead of in your pocket, wrapping it up in alfoil and carrying it in a bag instead. You can control your immediate environment. There is no one forcing you to use your phone or sit in front of a screen and play video games. There's no one forcing you to do that. That is a choice. So if you are concerned about your health and the well-being of your children, you will do what you need to do in order to make some healthy changes. And it's not going to be easy, because this is what this age is all about. It's about the convenience. It's about the convenience. It's about the accessibility. And as soon as you do something that is not en vogue, or something that is, if you pull yourself away from something trending, you immediately become the minority. You do. You may even become unsociable because you no longer talk or share about the same things anymore. Yeah, you're right, Christine. I heard this many years ago. I've heard the same as for viruses and diseases. Used to control population. Absolutely. Rebecca says human extinction is probably a good thing for the earth. I just feel sorry for all the animals, all the insects, all the plants. Yep, that's right. Vanessa said, I got diagnosed at 8 with Asperger's syndrome. It is common now. It is so common. She was born in 1987. Hi, Juniper. Hi, Alkanost. Hi, Lim. Lim says, I'm an Asperger's too. Look, it's even in my family, high spectrum autism. I think most of us know someone these days that has some kind of, or has been diagnosed with some kind of psychiatric condition. Do you know if your neighbors use Wi-Fi? How spaced out are your houses? They look far off enough in the videos. Yeah, they are. They are. They're like about, my nearest neighbor's house is probably about 300 meters away from me, the nearest. And I've probably only got one. And my next neighbor is probably about 800 meters away from me. So far away. Can you protect yourself from 5G with visualization methods? I believe you can. I believe you can. I absolutely believe in the power of the mind. And in fact, don't be surprised if your girl is doing some spellcraft to stop 5G. I may even create a spell to stop 5G, to stop and hinder the process of 5G. So that's definitely something I've thought about. You can absolutely visualize yourself not being affected by 5G. Absolutely you can. And it will be effective. If you believe you will not be affected by 5G, you won't be affected by 5G, because remember, these are all permission slips and these are all belief systems. If you're not going to be affected by 5G, if you believe you're not, you won't be. You won't be. Yeah. Okay, so listen, I've been talking for an hour and a half now. I've listed the links for that scientific paper on this dash, on what do you call it, on the description. And also, um, if you are wanting to be a part of the next live stream, which is going to be purely psychic readings, if you want to be a part of that, it's $5 for me to answer a question of your choice. Anything goes, but be aware there's going to be other people in the chat that are going to hear my response. So it's up to you. It's at your own perusal of how personal you want the question. It's going to be a brief answer. So if you want a personal question answered psychically, yeah, like I said, you can. There's a link to pre-book your spot and pay $5 at my website, or you can pay via the super chat, which is like Angry Bird said earlier. You click the little dollar sign down at the bottom of the live chat. So that's going to be the next live stream. It's the first time doing it, and I want to say thank you to Karen for encouraging me to do it, because it sounds like a lot of fun. I have no idea how it's going to turn out, but psychically it feels good, so it could be really fun together. And you know what, even though I may answer somebody else's question, it may relate very much to you and your questions. So anyway, I'm going to check out now because I want to check on my whining chooks. I can hear them whining outside like they always do every morning, and I want to go and eat some breakfast. I got some homegrown peaches I'm going to stuff my face with, and actually I made some beer cake that I'm probably going to have a little slice of. I also made some plum jam, homemade plum jam, um, from this year's plums. And I'm either going to have a little piece of beer cake or that I've made, or I'm going to have a piece of bread with a slice of bread with butter and plum jam. I haven't made up my mind yet. But I will see. And then today, most of my day is going to be out in my paddocks, mowing down my paddocks because I have so many weeds. So that is going to be your girl's day today. Out in the paddocks, beautiful blue skies, so quiet, so peaceful. I love when I get on my little mower because I'm watching my chooks. They kind of follow me around with the mower. They love seeing all the bugs and things coming around when I'm out mowing. So yeah, it's a good day. So in the meantime, take heed to the information here. I'm not trying to scare anyone, but you need to know the truth. You need to be well informed, and you make up your own mind. You make up your own mind, but this is stuff that has been reported, and there is proof in this with this lab work, these controlled experiments. Make your own discernment. Take control back in your life and decide what you want for yourself and your children if you have them, what you want. You don't have to be a part of this if you don't want to be. So you can do what I've done. Invest in an Ethernet cable, cover your phone up at night, create a Faraday cage, all these small little things. Don't use your microwave as much. Start cooking from scratch. Grow a vegetable garden. Eat good food. Turn the TV off at night and read a book. Write a book. Look at your loved ones. Talk to them about the day. Um, you know, make life beautiful. Live gracefully. Make life beautiful. Live in harmony with the ways of our planet Earth. So on that note, I send you my love. I send you my blessings. People of Earth, may you always, always, always be blessed by the supreme truth and love of the cosmos, as always. I love you guys, and Walk in the light. Love you guys.